All right.
Hey guys, welcome to the long-awaited movement video. I know you guys thought it was never gonna come out, and so did I, but here we are. So my job
Dude,
here is
I remember
I'm gonna show you
climbing
how
up
to
this.
use
It was
the
so
mechanics of
funny.
movement, and at the beginning I'm gonna show the basic inputs and how to do it. But later in the video I'm gonna show actual examples, and I'm gonna try and walk you guys through what's going through my mind. So the three things that I try and use movement for when I'm playing are using line of sight to your advantage.
Oh, that
Is
was
can the
nasty.
opponent see you? Second is reposition, whether it's the high ground or creating space. And the third is manipulating your enemy's path so you
R99,
can take
Gold
a fight
Mastiff,
that's
dude, PK.
advantageous for you.
Skull Town. Oh my god.
Alright, so I'm going to start this out by saying that movement and using these mechanics, they're only going to be as useful as you like.
I never
them. So
watched
you
this,
have to
by
be
the way,
as
so.
creative as possible when you're trying to come up with these routes and really just utilize them to the best of your ability. So it's going to take a lot of just getting comfortable with it. When I try and move around the map, I kind of picture the game like Mirror's Edge, where everything that you can utilize is pictured in red. And so obviously everything is not going to be red, but you should try and have a mental layout of where you're trying to go.
I like how you did that really slow.
Alright, so if you look at the top left, the very bottom is my velocity. That's essentially how fast I am moving. When you start sprinting, your maximum velocity is 299 units. But if you want to farther that, you're going to want to slide jump. To do that, you literally just reach your maximum speed and you slide, then jump right afterwards at almost pretty much the same time. And after that, you'll get into about the 440, 450 velocity. It's pretty much the fastest way to move around the map. So for this piece of movement tech, it is super universal. You can do this everywhere. So
This is
you can
very,
see
very,
straight to a
very
wall, your
basic.
velocity is 0. There's a wall there. You're not going to go anywhere. But your first step you take, your velocity spikes up to 299. What you can do with this is you get a full slide jump if you time it right. So you climb up, slide, jump, and boom, you go pretty fast and you get a lot of distance. If you ever do this right here, it's because you mistimed it, so you're not going to get that slide jump. So just go and practice your timing, and you should be using this all the time. It's very useful. So here in this first clip, I'm pretty much taking the roof of the building almost instantly after using the zip. And in the second clip, I'm getting pushed by 2 enemies. And instead of using the slide jump, I use an instant just jump to gain acceleration into a slide. So I can reposition outside the building and not get shot.
That was
by
really
both
clean.
enemies.
Yo, I'd love to become famous, dude.
Also, do not be afraid to add A and D inputs into a climb, because as long as you're holding W, you will stick that thing like glue.
Yup.
So just be on the lookout.
You don't
for
even have to
alternate
hold
routes you
W,
can
dude.
take and just go ahead and practice and get a good feel with this.
He'll get into the
Quickly
advanced
after
stuff here in a
climbing,
second.
It kind of shows how the sky is the limit when it comes to climbing, because I just found this on the go and I got really good at positioning on this guy on top of the roof. So just keep your eye out for different routes you can take. The
I wanna
second
be
clip just
famous,
showcases that pretty much any building in the game, there's alternative routes to take other than just taking the stairs or taking a really obvious direction or way that an enemy would be expecting.
This isn't a
In
thing
Capital
anymore.
City, this is the largest building in World's Edge, and not only can it be climbed from the back, but it can also be climbed from both sides.
Rip,
using
dude.
the
Rip
red
that
pillars.
place.
So a lot of the times an enemy will
F.
expect this, and it's a lot less noisy than
Used
taking
to
the zip
taste
line.
different, facts.
Here in the last clip, I showed in combat, you can break line of sight from the enemy, then climb a wall, and then they usually won't expect you to be above them, so you can take a better fight.
I clowned him. Poor guy. All right,
So now we're gonna
redirecting.
get
Now we're
into
getting
a
into
thing I
some a
call
little bit more complex
redirecting your
stuff.
momentum, or redirect. So you're going to be using this a lot to turn corners very quickly, and it's going to help you in chases. It's going to help you on getting certain places that you couldn't before. It's just going to be very
I use this a
useful.
lot.
I use it all the time, so I suggest you get
Yeah.
really comfortable with it because you need to incorporate into your movement. Alright, so to do this redirect, what you're going to do is you're going to slide jump into it, and you're going to point your back into the direction that you want to go. So the inputs are slide jump, then turn your camera, DSA. And if you're going the opposite way,
My friend taught me
to the
this 2
left,
weeks
you
ago,
wanna
dude.
put
I've
your
been using
back
this since
to the
literally, I
left,
don't know,
and you're going to
a
hit
few months into the game
ASD.
maybe.
So what
Like the
this
second it
does
was found,
is if you
the
slide
whole
jump
movement community went
straight
free.
and you just hit D, you're going to see that it moves you to the right.
Yeah.
And if you slide jump, turn your back, and hit D, then it's going to go almost 45 degrees to the way that you wanted to go. And then if you add in the other inputs, S and A, then it'll do the full 90-degree redirect. So if you just want to go into a game and practice this until it is almost natural, I really recommend that because you're going to be doing this a lot and you really don't want to mess
I can do
it up.
full 180. It's fun. Bunny
So
hopping.
next we have B hopping. First things first, I think you should bind jump to down scroll or up scroll.
I hate
It
the way
helps
he's doing it.
a
He's doing
lot.
it the
You can do it
opposite
with
way. Like,
spacebar, but definitely bind it to scroll. So B hopping is essentially just jumping whenever you touch the ground, and whenever you want to go left, you hold A and move your mouse to the left, and whenever you want to turn right, you hold D and move your mouse to the right. That is called strafing, and that's how you're going to keep your speed, and that's how you're going to turn. You don't have to hold control like I'm doing now, but I personally hold control and W whenever I B hop, but you can do it without holding control or W and just using the A and D inputs, whatever is comfortable for you.
I hate holding W. Dude, W looks so bad.
Uses of B hopping
Looks so
are
gross.
healing and getting around a corner at the same time, dodging enemies, or even continuing your momentum after a small drop, or when you're trying to get around a corner. So a lot of having good movement is having a good understanding of the mechanics that you are doing. So air strafing is when you hold A and move your mouse to the left, or D and move your mouse to the right, and that's how you continue your speed, turn, and pretty much keep going. I advise you to really practice with air strafing because you're going to be using it a lot in Apex and in many of the different movement techs that there are. So we only have one clip for B hopping, but it showcases how you can B hop and heal at the same time, so you can turn corners and get your heal off faster. So now we move on to
Zip lines are
There
completely
so
useless
many
now.
fun things you can do with zip lines. One being the classic E scroll jump. You don't have to use scroll jump for this, but it's definitely a lot easier than hitting
He keeps
spacebar.
messing it up.
So what this does
There you go.
is
Slide
it
jump.
essentially just launches you into the air, and you get a lot of height and distance.
You can
from this,
still
and you
do
can
this.
just
It's just
outplay
you
your
can't.
opponents.
There's gonna be
Like,
something
even at an
he
angle they would
shows
not
on
be
here that isn't
expecting,
gonna be useful anymore. It's gonna
or
be
you
zip
can use it
hopping.
to get on top of something that you usually can't jump on, or you can climb to, but you don't want to spend the time climbing. Alright, for horizontal zip lines, there's a lot you can do.
Yeah, you can do
So
3
don't
times.
be scared to jump off. A lot of the times, if you're just riding a zip line, you are a free target and you're just gonna get shot. So don't be afraid to just jump off, then hit E to get back on and keep jumping off. You can do this, and you can stay on the right, the left, above the zip line, and you can just be a lot harder to hit target. So if you do it well, you can pretty much keep your momentum that you are at, and you can pretty much just ride the zip line without actually being on the zip line. Alright, for this next movement tech, it is one of the harder ones. I don't have a name for it, but essentially all you're doing
I found this
is
shit, dude. I
you're
found this
hitting
shit.
E to get on the zip line, then immediately jump off, turn around, hit E to get on the zip line, jump off.
I found it, that shit, man.
You're insanely hard to hit. I cannot shoot someone doing this.
This
and
shit's like
you pretty
impossible.
much
I
they
miss
just
it
have to
so
get
much.
lucky to hit you.
It was so skill
Well, like
based,
I
dude.
said, this is very hard to consistently do without practice. So again, like everything else, go into training, go into a match. And
Man
just
said this
practice
is
doing
hard.
this, and I promise
It
you you'll get better.
was. Back at this time,
And another
10
thing you
months
can do on
ago,
vertical zip
Shook?
lines to avoid being shot is just spinning. So just moving your mouse and spinning around the zip line, it kind of throws your hitbox around in your character model and makes you a harder target.
I found this 3 months into the game. I have a clip on my Twitter 3 months into the game of me doing this in firing range and saying, this is very hard to do, but it is very useful. And I started doing it in scrims, and everybody
This just
started
shows
figuring
the
it out,
e-scroll jump
and
in action.
everybody
There's no other
started
way you
doing
can
it.
get on top of this without doing it, so just
They never
always
used
just
it in
be on the
scrims
lookout
much
when,
because once again, this is like a
you're around
really,
the
really
zip to see
competitive
what you can do
environment.
with
If
it.
you fuck it up, you fuck it up. But like pub stars,
the
movement
zip
players,
line
they started using it in
clips,
pubs
this
all the
one
time.
showcases
Especially when
not
this
only
came
the
out. When they started calling it the Dizzy jump because Dizzy did it in pubs a lot on his stream, and he was a very big streamer. He always used Wraith building to do like the Dizzy jump, quote unquote. So he had the 2 walls, or the walls around him, to stop him from like going too far. So it's a lot easier inside a building like this, whereas you're doing it like going up a balloon per se. But yeah, it got really big because Dizzy started doing it on his stream in buildings and elevators like this.
Jump, but also the spamming E and jumping off and spamming E and jumping off again and again and again. So I'm able to not only dodge bullets, but get damage off until the point that I whittled him down and I can just finish him off. Here it shows.
Well, there's no
basically
issue with
doing
that, but
that
you can only do it 3
spam
times now.
from a third-person perspective, so you can just see what it looks like and how hard it'd be able to shoot that. And for the last clip, it just shows how you can use zip lines to redirect your momentum and be trickier to hit and get better positioning.
Wait, what? Maybe it's from all dick jumping?
Alright, so next up we have a thing called...
Alright, to be 100% honest, I don't like the way he formatted the video. Like, watching it, I think that wall jumping and strafe jumping and bunny hopping should have been before zipline jumping and, like, redirecting and all that stuff. I feel like you should start with the basic and move to the more advanced stuff. He was kind of, like, all over with it.
To do that, you slide jump into the wall.
So if I remake a movement tutorial, I think I'd start from the basic stuff. But I don't know how basic I want to get with it, because everybody knows how to run and strafe at this point, right?
One of my favorite uses for this is right here. You can avoid a climb and get on top of a wall.
I know he did it really quick, but it's just how the video is formatted, you know what I mean? He could have just swapped it around in his editing software and it would have been fine.
See, right there is a long climb and a short climb. You pretty much just want to always avoid those because you get locked in the animation and you're probably going to get a shot and you're going to die. That's bad. So adding in the wall bounce and the redirect, you can get around just like that and avoid the climb altogether. Try and be as creative as possible with the wall bounce because you can do it on almost any surface. There are multiple uses such as jumping over enemies, dodging bullets, getting on top of things you can't just jump on, and obviously avoiding climbs. So these next few clips are a little bit more advanced, but it just goes to show that you can redirect into a wall bounce to be very specific where you want to jump off of. It just kind of proves that you can wall bounce off of anything, so always stay on the...
I kind of find this funny because if you heard what he just said, he said you can redirect into a wall bounce, right? I don't know if you guys were on Twitter when Masen thought he had the bright idea of new movement tech redirecting into a wall bounce. Like, he literally said it 10 months ago, and this is probably like 3 months ago now that he said it.
Look out for,
it said that he came up with this new movement tech, and it's just like Ace just said it in this video from 10 months ago. I just noticed that.
The next piece of movement was brought to me by KwlaBear.
Yeah, see right there.
Practical uses for it, but what you do is you just slide jump into a redirect to get on a wall that you can wall bounce off of.
I wish I would have known that at the time.
Wall bounce being used to get to a place that you
I use this all the time,
but you can reach with a simple wall bounce. Oh my god, wall bounce is not useless. Cracked. Here we have a clip of the wall bounce being used mid-fight to reposition over the wall without having to put my gun away and deal with the reholster time. Here I'm losing a fight, so I try to get away, so I use a climb, and then I use a wall bounce off the side of this to gain space and get a heal off. With this one, we use the wall bounce to jump over this caustic so I can take a fight that's better for me and surprise him a little bit.
Poor guy.
Okay, so this is going to be the most important part of the video. I'm going to show you guys how to put it to use, right? So at the very beginning there, I used the zipline jump to get to the high ground, which I immediately threw away. So here I'm running away, I use the 2 little jumps to get above the enemy so they can't shoot me, armor swap, and I'm free. But after that, I use the instant jump to climb around the wall and get even more high ground, which again I throw away. So in this clip, it's all about using movement to dodge line of sight of your enemy and kind of manipulating their movement. So even though I fuck up this climb here, I drop down. I know if they chase me, they have to jump over, so I can just jump back in. And then line of sight, and then when I climb up here, I know they can't chase me, and if they do,
he fucks it up again, dude.
I'm just gone. So I know she's gonna keep running, and I just drop down to take a better fight. In this clip, the Bangalore does so much damage, I know she's gonna chase, so I drop down and then use the E jump to go past her, so she's gonna chase. And then I just reposition and finish her off.
Oh,
so
poor guy.
How you can melee something that's parallel to you when you're falling to break a hard fall and almost get an instant slide jump after you land.
He kind of fucked up on that, but
so I didn't really talk about this too much, but if you are sliding downhill and you hit the edge of something, you kind of get a little speed boost, and in this clip I kind of chain a little bit of them together. Alright, for this clip it shows how you can scale the side of the building in Capital by going up the red pillars. Not only is this kind of a surprise tactic because you're going up the side, but it's also a lot quieter than taking the zipline.
Oh my god, the old R9, dude. Oh my
so this
god.
Nothing special, but it just shows kind of how creative you can be and how fast you can scale some things that you normally wouldn't be able to climb. Lastly, these two clips show an E scroll jump and a wall climb to take a fight from an angle that the opponent would not usually clear immediately, so you kind of catch them off guard. So I know there wasn't a lot of examples given, but my goal here was to give you guys the tools to improve your movement. We all have the same keys to press, so it's up to you to utilize it in a way you deem fit. I recommend you practice and get extra comfortable with these techniques, and hopefully this video helps. Thank you guys.
You know, I rate it a 9 out of 10 for the time it was released. If it was released right now, I'd give it probably a 7. There's a few things that I feel like he kind of missed out on or had a really tough time explaining. But other than that, you know, it helped a lot of people. He obviously knows what he's talking about. I just feel like, in my opinion, my nobody opinion, could have been executed a little bit better with like the whole way the video was set up, the way it kind of flowed. And I feel like he could have explained redirecting a little bit better. That was a little bit interesting. Dude, should I do a movement tutorial? I'll do a movement tutorial if I hit 300 subs on YouTube by Friday.